alcohol. You want somebody to buy from you because they connect with you. And they're like, Emma, I feel Emma. I want to work with Emma. Okay. And I want to stay working with Emma. Does this all make sense?
Yeah, completely. Amazing. Thank you. One question.
Sure.
Like, obviously, like people say that your clients are meant to be like a representation of you and connect with you, right? Most of my clients are men. And I think, like, if I'm sharing, yeah, there's always that disconnect in my mind. Like, how are like men going to relate to me if I'm like a woman? But then it's through the stories, right? And that's still okay.
Well, why is your main, why is your main market main client men?
95% of the people who write to me and like come on calls are men. Like women just don't seem connected. Like I have like a strong
Maybe
masculine.
they don't think they
Yeah,
have a problem.
I think most women or like more women have problems with drinking, but I'm just like I'm a pretty straight talker. So I think that kind of pushes women away.
Yeah,
I don't
okay,
talk about
that's fine.
manifestation and the fluffy stuff.
That's fine. That's who you're attracting. That's fine. Well, if you're automatically attracting those people, what makes you think that you would have a problem?
Yeah, no, I don't. Just the people who say that like normally your ideal client is a representation of you 10 years ago. Obviously, I wasn't a
Who said
man
that?
10 years ago.
Who said that?
Some random people, right?
Is that well? Okay. Lesson number one: don't listen to random people. That is the
People who
biggest
have
load of
like
BS
online
I've ever heard.
businesses. But yeah,
Yeah, that
okay.
doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, maybe not. That's like saying, okay, so if any of you have ever bought a product from Kim or Khloe Kardashian, maybe one of her makeup things or whatever they sell, 10 years ago, were you making a sex tape and getting famous from it? Like, no, like it's just dumb. That's just the amount of dumb advice that comes out from online entrepreneurs today, it never ceases to amaze me. I hear the craziest, just stupid advice. Okay. So, Emma, I give you permission to completely and utterly disregard that piece of advice. Okay. Just Dean says that. Well, I've met Dean. He's a very nice guy, and it's a great soundbite, but I don't think it applies to everything. So, and he also is a very, very newbie market. I'll just say it. He's a newbie market. Like you don't buy from Dean if you're an advanced marketer. So, he knows his market, and it's a great soundbite, and I'm sure he is completely and utterly smart enough to know that. But that is not always. He's right in some cases, but not in all cases. To think that is 100, and I guarantee you, if you ask Dean, he would tell you no, that is not always the case. That is not always the case. So that's the other thing, guys. When you hear a piece of advice from somebody, it doesn't mean that is like a scientific law that it always has to fit into that. Okay, so that's another thing. So it's either bad advice or bad learning. It's one of the or both. All right, so who else has? We got a couple more minutes until yeah, exactly, Allison. Context matters exactly. All right, hold on. Let's see here. Challenge for Dan. See now Nazir here had the right idea. He used a pattern interrupt to get my attention in the chat, probably because he knows his market, and I am definitely a go-getter. I definitely like a challenge, so that caught my attention. So good. So automatically, good copywriting for Nazir. My two wives and I, nice. My two wives and I coach to do the hook is. I love this guy. I love this guy. Assalamu alaikum, by the way. I love this guy. My two wives and I coach people on relationships through online courses and coaching. Upcoming book, okay? And feel we have a blue ocean since there are far too few resources. We currently dominate the polygamy sphere on YouTube. I'm sorry, I'm assuming somewhat, but we still are finding it difficult to market deliverables. All right, Nazir, why don't you come on, buddy? This will be fun. This is gonna be fun. I love it. I feel like Russell would never take this call, but I will take it. Let's go.
I'm Mastermind, by the way, brother. Definitely a pleasure.
Oh, what's up, Wally Salam? So, okay, so first, let's talk about market, right? I'm assuming your market is going to be polygamous Muslims, correct?
No, not only Muslims. Yeah, majority, yes, but there are other like Hebrew Israelites, other people from different scriptures. So it's not a religiously focused training, but it is open. But yeah,
Is the product how to make polygamy work
yeah, in a healthy fashion, correct.
in a healthy fashion? Okay, that's a big pain point because if you are, I don't know about other cultures, but if you're a Muslim and you have 2 wives, I know that the faith says that you must treat them equally if you buy flowers. And by the way, for all you Christians and stuff out there, just try to have an open mind. Okay, people are different in other parts of the world. Things happen. Imagine if there was somebody on Mars.
They're familiar with it. They watch TLC. They see the polygamy.
I mean, imagine if you lived on Mars. If we found aliens on Mars, how different they'd be. You can be fine with the Muslims. Okay, so if you buy flowers for one, you have to buy. Oh, that's right, Mormons. I forgot about that. So we're good. If you buy flowers for one, then you got to buy flowers for the other, right? And they can get jealous. You got to split up your time. So this is definitely a pain point. My concern is not the pain point. I think this would make an amazing product. It's the market, because I know that westernized Muslims and probably other faiths still don't get down with the polygamy stuff. So I would imagine your market is non-Western. Would that be correct?
No, most of them are Western. Right
Really?
here in the U.S., it's actually practiced quite a bit, but most people again are very private because it's seen as taboo.
Sure. So do you have a way to get in front? See, I don't know the market. I don't know the market size. Is it enough of a size for you to consistently get in front of these people?
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, one of the fastest, there's a Facebook group, for example, that went from 0 to like 100,000.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, that's okay. Good.
In a matter of 2 months.
All right. So so do you have a story around this?
Yeah, I've been practicing polygamy for 13 years. My wives and I have 10 children. There were no resources, so we had to figure it out. And once we did re-engineer and figure it out for about 5 years, we could either be silent about it or share with others utilizing some different internet marketing learnings and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me, give me a belief that in order to buy your product, I have to believe, and I'm assuming that your market is already people who are in a polygamy. You're not convincing people to get into it. You're just convincing them to buy from you to manage it. So give me
the majority of people are relatively new. We do have people who are like single premarital type stuff, and those have been in for a while trying to figure it out. But most of them are relatively new, rocky, or they're mainly brand new. About 60% women.
Okay, so do you have a story you can tell me to help sell your product or overcome a limiting belief?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Story. Men generally are polygynous by nature. We've heard that a lot always, when it comes to science, right? Polygynous by nature. And the sad part is that in society, we know that there are stuff, there's strip clubs, pornography, there's all kinds of other vices, if you will, to handle things in an immoral fashion. But for those who want to be pro-moral versus immoral, it actually helps you become more than twice the man, raise your standards in finances, emotional maturity, leadership, and these qualities that are very attractive to women. So if you're able to do so and become more than twice the man, why not practice polygamy in a moral way, more in line with your nature as a man?
Can I give you one? Can I give you a really so? And I'm going to cover this in a moment because we're about to start the general session. But there's 4 types of stories. I'll cover what those in. But here's one you can use that is like a parable, right? So you want to. Let me ask you something, Nazir. Are you the type of person that knows a bunch of useless facts?
Yeah, I think we all do. Yeah, of course.
Okay, that is the most amazing person to be when it comes to copywriting. I'll give you an example. Did you know that bumblebees are not supposed to be able to fly? Scientifically, according to the laws of aerodynamics, bumblebees can't fly. Did you know that?
Yes.
You did know that? Oh, okay. So then you know that because of the weight of their body and the weight of their wings, they are aerodynamically, science says they can't fly. Yet, they are able to flap their wings in a very unique, specific way that allows them to produce lift. Now, what does this prove? It proves that even if most people, even the science community, says something is impossible, that doesn't mean it's true. There is always a way. Most people are going to tell you that you can't have 2 wives. Most people are going to tell you that polygamy doesn't work, that it's wrong, that it's immoral. Most people are going to tell you that. Just like most people say, most smart people, even scientists, say that bumblebees can't fly. Yet, they figured it out. And I am here to tell you that absolutely you can figure it out too. And that is what I would like to help you do. And below, you can book a call, blah, 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 blah. That right there is a parable. So, you see what I'm saying?
Picture parable principle. Indeed. My personal
Oh, yeah, you're a Myron guy. You're a Myron guy. All right. Yeah, I should have been drawing it on the whiteboard.
You painted the word picture, bro.
You see the little wings and the big body? It can't fly. That's yeah, no. I missed my opportunity. So let's see. Already, I've inadvertently insulted Dean Graziosi. We've talked about having 2 wives. I messed up a bit by not drawing on the board. There was something else. So what a great start for today.
Thank you, bro, man. I appreciate you. That's
Yeah, no problem. Hopefully, run on the mic and the microphone earlier. And for those of you who are not in the VIP session, we had a little microphone blunder earlier, but it's all good to go now. And I was giving live coaching, which means you should join VIP. This is your last chance if you want to come on tomorrow. And look, guys, I teach stuff during the general, but in the VIP, I'm literally bringing people on and going back and forth and coaching them. The gold in there is amazing. So I would absolutely go to that little link right there, join VIP, and you can watch the recordings of the first 2 sessions that I did. Okay? Anyway, so hopefully Russell doesn't watch this recording. Molly, make sure he's busy. All right, let's get going, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 2 of the Right Like Dan Challenge. Okay? Yes, Michael. Dean said it correctly in context. That's all right. It's on brand for me. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a couple quick announcements, and we are going to get this party started. Make sure you get your workbooks. Workbooks are important today. So first thing I want to mention is the agenda. Okay, the agenda. And the agenda today is, as I bring up the workbook real fast. Oh, got to get my clicker. Totally forgot about this clicker. They give me this. So the ClickFunnels team has this amazing thing. You see this right here? This is so cool. It's a clicker that allows you to click the slides. It's pretty neat. Okay, so if you take a look at your workbook, you're going to notice that we have some goals for today. We're going to unlock 4 must-have strategies for $1 million marketing. We're going to really dive into the DNA of a $1 million marketer. We're going to crack the code to authentic marketing. Guys, most of the time when somebody says, oh, I want to be authentic, I want to have authentic marketing. Well, guys, authentic doesn't mean you just be honest. That's not what authentic means. That is what most people think authentic means. And most people are broke in a relationship that they don't want to be in and aren't at the health goals that they want. Most people don't have good advice. And I'm telling you right now that authentic marketing is not being honest. It is much more clear and defined than that. I'm going to show you what that is. I'm going to show you how to find your core values. Guys, today, this is amazing. Today, I'm so excited about this. You're going to create a personal brand today. In 5 minutes, I'm going to show you how to create a personal brand. Every single one of you will leave this session today with your own personal brand. That's going to happen. I'm going to help you with your magnetic persona. I'm going to help you master stories that sell. And I'm going to teach you the 4 stories that you need. The only 4 stories that you need, the 4 types of stories. All right. So with that said, let's get going. Let's see, what's the first slide we got here? What's the first slide? Let me see what the next slide is. Okay, got it. So, and there we go. So we're going to start with the 4 essential elements of personality-driven marketing. 4 essential elements. Now, before I get into this, I want to let you know, and we can kill the slide for 1 second. I'm going to tell a lot of stories today because today's about brand and stories, right? It's about your persona and the stories that your persona tells. So you're going to hear a lot of stories. But one thing I want to cover before we get started, because this is very, 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 very important, is fear. See, people, when they go to do this, I spoke on the the VIP session. I said, and we can do this exercise real quick. If you let me know in the chat in Facebook, if you fully believe something would work, you were 100% confident, you had 100% clarity that it could work, do you believe that you would give it your all and that it would work? And yep. Tons of yeses, right? Okay, so here's the thing. In the comment section, I want you to write 2 or 3 things, 2 is fine, that what would you do if you knew you could not fail? Over the next week, what are 2 things you would do if you were 100,000% positive that you could not fail? What would you do? Write those in the comment section. Now, VIP already did it. VIP, if you would like to put it in the chat again, because maybe you thought of something else, that's totally fine. I love the interaction. So write down 2 or 3 things. Shelly says everything. 2 or 3 things that you would do if you knew you could not fail over the next week. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I want you to now comment, how long have you been putting off those 2 things? How long have you been putting off those 2 things? How long have you been procrastinating? 2 years, way too long. Months, 1 year. What does this prove? This proves that the only difference between you winning and doing is belief. It's not that you're procrastinating. It's not that you're overwhelmed. It's not that you don't have time. You never have time. You're always overwhelmed. Like procrastination is a part of human condition. Like these are just things we all deal with. I deal with it. Everybody deals. Russell deals with it. Everybody deals with it. The problem is belief. You don't believe it will work. You say you do, but you don't. You don't believe it will work, because if you truly believed it will work, you would do it. That's the difference. And so one other thing I want to do today is I want to increase that belief and get rid of the things that prevent you from having that belief. And the first thing is fear. Okay. Now, people generally misunderstand fear. They misunderstand what fear is. I'll give you an example. If you're anything like me, you probably have a phobia of some kind. Mine was flying. I was afraid to fly when I was about 15 years old. And by the way, I love to fly. I always took planes. I was constantly on planes. I loved, my family would travel. I loved it. When I was 15 years old, I got up from my seat on a Delta flight and I went to the bathroom, and I'm sitting in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I fly up off the toilet. I crack my head, literally crack. My head hit that plastic ceiling part so hard it cracked the ceiling a little bit. I sling them back down with my pants around my ankles onto the toilet. And I was shook up. I opened the door. I put my pants up first, of course. Need to make sure that's clear. I opened the door. I came out, and what I saw was chaos. There was food everywhere on the floor. There was a child upside down in his seat. His little feet were pointed up at the sky, wiggling. Okay. My mom was crying. She was in hysterics. It was nuts. Pandemonium. Apparently we had hit a couple 100-foot air pocket. The plane dropped and everybody just went. So I sit down. My mom's freaking out. And then we land. We get on a small commuter flight from Miami to Tampa. On that flight, turbulence was terrible. So I already had the first issue. Turbulence was terrible. There was rain, the plane's rocking. All of a sudden, we go to land. The plane careens to the right, careens to the left, and slams down on the runway. And then we come to find out that the pilot had passed out during landing, and the co-pilot had to take over literally 50 feet above the ground last second. After this day, I didn't fly for like a decade. I had the worst fear of flying. The worst fear of flying. Now, keep in mind, this entire time, everything was fine. I mean, the co-pilot thing kind of sucked, but we would have lived. But the air pocket thing was normal, right? The airplanes are meant to handle that. But it sucked. And yes, thank you. It was crazy. Now, real quick side note. I could have said, I'm afraid of flying because I hit a 100-foot air pocket in an airplane. And then I took another flight. And there was a little issue with landing and the co-pilot had to take over. And ever since then, I've been afraid of flying. That would not have impacted you as much. Okay. So just a note, storytelling, that whole thing, right? Anyway, so I didn't fly for the longest time and I missed a lot of opportunities in life. Even when I got successful at business, there were so many times I got asked to speak. I bought Russell's Inner Circle way back when it was 30 grand. I didn't go to a single meeting. I spent $30,000 on Russell's Inner Circle. I didn't go to a single meeting because I was afraid to fly. Wasted 30 grand. That's how bad it was. One time I flew because I had to. And they almost kicked me off the plane. I was flipping out. So one day I decided I want to conquer my fear. And the only way that I know how to conquer my fear is to understand how something works. Because see, what's happening is when you're on an airplane and the plane shakes and you freak out and you look around and everybody's fine, that is the difference between fear and anxiety. See, and this is how I learned this. I decided to take my buddy Gary Cox. I don't know if you know Gary Cox. My buddy Gary Cox says, you really need to learn to fly. That'll help you get over your fear of flying. So he invites me on his plane. Now, I trusted Gary because I knew Gary. I would be in the cockpit. I could see what's going on. Gary like trains flight instructors. So I was like, all right, I can do this. So I was super nervous, but I got on the plane. We get up. He's got me flying and all this. And I'm nervous as heck, right? I'm nervous as heck. And he's like, you need to release the grip on the ailerons. Like you're gripping them. And I said, I'm sorry. I just have a lot of fear of flying. And he slaps my hand like this. And he goes, no, you don't have a fear of flying. You have ignorance of flying. I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, you're not afraid. You see, fear would be as if we were nose diving into the ground. I'm freaking out. The plane's going down and you are freaking out because you're afraid. That is fear. Fear is an emotional response to a clear and present danger. Right now you have anxiety because everything's fine, but you're still afraid. That's not fear. That's anxiety. And that comes from a lack of understanding of why the plane's moving, why the plane's shaking. So ladies and gentlemen, it's the same thing with your business. You're not afraid that this won't work. You're not afraid to fail. You're not afraid of anything. You just don't know how it works. So that is why you have anxiety. You don't have fear. You have anxiety. Because you don't know how it works. If you knew how it works, you wouldn't have any fear because you would know how it works. It's like, oh, of course it's going to work. So my goal today is to take away your fear, but it's actually your anxiety by explaining to you crystal clear how this works. Does that sound like a plan for today? Does that sound like a plan for today? Let me know in the chat. Yes? Yes? All right, let's go. Okay. So we're going to talk about the 4 essential elements of personality-driven marketing. Now, here's the thing about this. This is a framework. This is a framework you are going to learn. So there was a study done by UK. There was this group of UK scientists, right? These are actual scientists, all right? So I'm going to write the facts down here. UK scientists. And if I recall correctly, they studied over 6,000 movie scripts. Over 6,000 movie scripts, all right? And what they wanted to figure out was they wanted to figure out what story types or story arcs were the most profitable. Now, I don't mean the most gross revenue for a movie. I mean the most profit, which means it wasn't about how much the movie made. It was about how much the movie made minus how much it cost to make. Okay? So a lot of these films didn't have huge budgets. They didn't need them because they had good stories. And out of 6,000 scripts, they narrowed this down to 6, we're going to call them frameworks because they were story arcs, but we'll call them 6 script frameworks, okay? Now, of all 6,000, the vast majority, like 98% of the most profitable films were one of these 6 scripts. But out of these 6 scripts was one script that stood above the rest as like the most profitable. So imagine you had the 6th script, okay? You had the 5th script, you had the 4th, the 3rd, the 2nd, but then like way up here was the 1st. There was like a huge gap. The 1st was way more effective than the rest. That script framework was called Man in a Hole. And this script framework you would recognize from movies like The Godfather and The Departed. Man in the Hole, one very specific framework, was the most profitable movie script for decades and still is. What does this prove? It proves that frameworks work. Once you figure out a framework, and no, that's not the hero's two journeys. Actually, it wasn't that. That's one of them. But Man in a Hole. Once you figure out a framework that works, you can just rinse and repeat it for all different types of films, all different types of stuff. And see what Dan Kennedy has done is Dan Kennedy has figured out a script, a framework, if you will, for creating a magnetic personality and marketing with that magnetic personality. And that is what I am about to show you. So I need you to understand that, yes, there may be other ways to do it, 100%, but this is the one, this is Man in the Hole. This is the one that will work the best. So why not, if you're going to do one, why not do the best? And believe it or not, this is the one that, as I said yesterday, Steve Jobs, Oprah, all these, what they do. So that's why it's the best. Okay, so we can bring the slides back up. 4 essential elements of personality-driven marketing. So the first element, they have to be fascinated with you. They must be fascinated with you. You can't be boring. You have to be a character. You have to be, if there was a movie and the character was not fascinating, no one would watch the movie. If there was a business and the character is not fascinating, no one cares to listen to the business owner and hear what they have to say. So you have to be fascinating. Next, they have to share. Oh, this is cool. Apparently I can see the previous slide. Wow, that's neat. They have to share common values. So if you have some sort of, for instance, if you have a MAGA shop where you sell Make America Great Again t-shirts, you can't be talking about your pronouns. Okay, you can't sell Trump t-shirts talking about you identify as they, them. Ain't gonna work. It is not gonna work. Okay, you have to share common values. All right, it's pretty simple. All right, yes, Budweiser learned that. That's correct. Prime example of how not to do this. Budweiser, $6 billion in losses in market cap that they have not recovered. Values have to be in alignment. Okay, just saying. Most expensive commercial of all time. All right, they have to believe that you care about them. They have to believe that you care about them. You can't just, I mean, this one's easy. If you care about them, you show you care about them. Okay. Now, this is the hardest one. They have to get value from the relationship. The problem is most business owners don't understand what value is. You think value is teaching them something. You think value is explaining something to them. That's not what value is. because people constantly get that all the time. Oh, explain it to me, explain it to me. We don't want anything explained to us. We want things simplified. We want a shift in perspective. We don't want to learn more stuff. There's too much stuff. We need to learn new ways to think. We need things simpler, not more complicated. And that is actually value, not do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. People think it is, but it's not. So what qualities do you have to be successful at this? Well, first, you have to care to share your stories. If you don't care to share your stories, then this ain't going to work, period. You have to care to share your values. And this one's tough for people because, look, you have to share and look, if you have any value that you hold dear, somebody else has the opposite value, right? Somebody else believes that you're a bad person because you have that value. So the hardest thing here is sharing your values, because when you share your values, you will piss somebody off. There's somebody out there you will piss off. Okay, period. And by the way, just so you guys know, you're already doing it. If you are a Christian, when you leave church, there is an atheist driving down the street, looking at the church, looking at you leaving, and going, "That guy sucks, I'm angry." If you're the atheist, okay, and you've decided that you're going to walk around with your nipples poking out of your shirt and, a fishnet and I don't know, something, and you walk into a coffee shop where a nice Christian family is sitting with their children, they're going to look at you and go, "I don't like that person. I'm angry." Okay? No matter what you do, if you be who you are, you're going to piss somebody off, period. Because you're who you are. Unless you stay in a little bubble inside of your bedroom, then you're not. Well, if an extrovert ever finds out about you, they're not going to like you. But the point is that when you share you're already making people angry. You live your daily life. Somebody is angry that you're living the life the way you want to live it. You're already pissing people off. All I am simply proposing is that you finally get paid for it. That's it. You finally get paid for it. Because right now you're doing it for free. You are pissing people off for free. Okay? I want you to get paid for it. That's what I want you to pay. So you have to care to share your values. You have to care to show that you care. You have to care to show that you care. I'll give you an example. There will be times where I will have I'll give you an example, my YouTube channel, right? I didn't know what I wanted to do with my YouTube channel. I had no idea. I had tried all different types of content and it was good, but it didn't land, right? Lately, I have been blowing up. Well, not blowing up, but I've been substantially increasing on YouTube. All my engagement is up. My channel is growing more than it ever has. And it was because one day, one of my employees, Carla, who's been with me for like 7 years, reaches out to me and she says, "Hey, Dan, I got an idea for your YouTube channel." And I said, "Well, what's that?" And she says, "Well, remember when you had the mastermind years ago? You would just like kind of get on and roast people's marketing and then you would just give them a better pitch." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why don't you just do that for your YouTube channel?" So what I do now is people will fill out a form, and I'll pick people, I'll take them on, I'll do a full 3 hour of consulting, and I'll just fix all their stuff and I upload it to YouTube, and that's my YouTube channel. And so what I'm doing there is I'm putting out content that shows that I care, because I used to charge $55,000 for that. And I'm doing it for free to like 2 people a week and uploading it to YouTube. So that's just one form of content that I put out there to show that I care. So you got to figure out, how can you show that you care, right? How can you show that you care? So next is you have to understand what value means to them so you can give it. You have to understand that value is not over explaining something and confusing and overwhelming people. It's simplifying things for people. It's making things easy for people. Okay? That is what it is. And I'm going to show you how easy it can be. So I'm going to practice what I preach. Today, I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a personal brand. So see, and I'm not teaching you anything crazy. I'm giving you a different perspective, and that's value. So I'll show you that here in a minute. But first, let's talk about what is authentic marketing. The reason I want to talk about this is because most people misunderstand what this is. And I want to clear this up. Okay? So authentic marketing is the practice of clearly defining your values and then telling stories that highlight those values. Let me say it one more time. Authentic marketing is the practice of clearly defining your values and then telling stories that highlight those values. How many of you here would love to have an authentic brand? Say me in the chat if you would love to have an authentic brand. Okay, I see it lighting up, lighting up. This is how you do it. An authentic brand is, oh, I just want to be myself and not be, no, that's not an authentic brand. That's I don't know what that is. That's bad marketing. Because good marketing is engineered. Bad marketing is off the cuff. It's oh, let me just share something about myself for no reason. That's not authentic. That's stupid. Okay? Authentic marketing is the practice of clearly defining your values and then telling stories that highlight those values. Plain and simple. All right? So let's talk about how to find your values. What are my values? So here's an interesting little practice. So in your workbook, you will notice that there is a list of superheroes. Okay, we can kill the slides for 1 second. So remember that manual I was talking about? I had the manual that Russell gave me, which what I consider the SOPs to this. I don't even consider it. I would never call it a book because it's just not written like a book. It's a manual. In the manual, and I love this thing. Like I said, I offered Russell 10 grand for it. Thankfully, I got it for free for winning that affiliate contest. But in the manual that Russell gave me from Dan, he mentioned that there are two types of characters that are the most enduring brands, right? These are the types of brands that stick around the longest. Owen says, Dan, I'll give you $10,000 for that manual. But I'm hoping you'll give it to us for free. Nope, not Alex Arbozi. That's not happening. He didn't even give books away for free. Anyway, so, but I love the value. I love the value. Okay, so he said that the two types of the most enduring, the longest lasting brands are talk show hosts and superheroes. Talk show hosts and superheroes. But that superheroes were far and above even talk show hosts. Think about this. In your workbook, you will see Superman, you will see Batman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Iron Man, Captain America, Wolverine, the Hulk, the Flash, and the Green Lantern. Now, these are the top 10 most popular and enduring superheroes of all time. And this is how we are going to create our personal brand in the next 5 minutes. The bedrock of a personal brand is simply this. This is a personal brand, okay? This is a personal brand in a nutshell. Have any of you ever wondered what a personal brand is? What is a personal brand? Like, what the heck does that mean, right? Does anybody ever thought to yourself, what is a personal brand? What is a personal brand? Here's what it is. No, it's not how to sell yourself. That's a byproduct of it. But here's the framework for a personal brand. Every personal brand is extraordinarily simple. And when you get clarity around this, you can create one. Personal brand is simply this. It's what you are about. But what does that mean? It means you stand for something. You stand for something. You stand against something. You stand for something and you stand against something. These two things in unison create values. Right? So you figure out what you stand for, you figure out what you stand against. When you have this clear, it creates a set of values. These values are best articulated or set into stone by principles. So principles are, I guess you could call it a summary of how to think about the value. So you stand for something, you stand against something. This creates your values, and then the principles are the core teaching moments of your values. And then your stories are simply times from your life that you can relate to your principles. Now, this may sound a little complicated, but I'm going to make it real clear, real fast. So, how do we find out first what we stand for and what we stand against? Well, we borrow it from the most enduring superheroes of all time because they are very clear about what they stand for and what they stand against. So, we can bring these slides back up. Here's how to find your dogma. Here's how to find what you believe in. Let's take a look at Superman. He stands for truth, justice, and the American way. He stands against tyranny, injustice, and evil. Batman stands for justice, human ingenuity, and resilience. He stands against crime, corruption, and injustice. You see the difference? So Superman, truth, justice, and the American way. Batman, it doesn't say truth because Batman does not mind deception, right? Superman is about the American way. Batman, I'm sure he kind of cares about the American way, but that's not his main thing, right? And he stands against crime, corruption, and injustice, whereas Superman is more about tyranny. He stands against tyranny. These are very similar things, but they're different. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this list of 10 superheroes, and I want you to pick the one, if you had to choose one, I want you to pick the one that is the closest to you right now. Pick the one that is the closest. You read all of these, stand for, stand against. You know what? That sounds the most like me. Now, for me, it was Iron Man. He stands for innovation. I love innovation. Innovation to me is just, I love it. Capitalism. I am a huge capitalist. I love the concept of capitalism. I am extraordinarily anti-socialist. Extraordinarily. I hate socialism. Personal growth. I am big on personal growth. I don't even like to associate myself with people who don't read personal growth books. I just can't. I can't even talk to those people. Stands against terrorism. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but I don't wake up in the morning and go, those damn terrorists. But okay. Ignorance. Okay, I hate ignorance. Because most ignorance is voluntary. I hate it. And threats to freedom. I love freedom. I don't like the threats to it. So I'm not 100% like this is me, but this is the closest one. So here's what I want you to do, and I'm going to do it with you. You will see on your worksheets an exercise. And it says, pick your favorite superhero and fill in the blanks. So you write the name of the superhero, you write, and you just copy it from above. You write stands for and stand against. Okay? I hate terrorists too. I just saying, like, I don't wake up and scribble it on the wall how much I hate them. Like, it's just a thing that I don't like. Now, create your superhero identity by tweaking the proven one above. So all you're going to do is you're going to leave what you also believe in, and you're going to change or be more clear. So let me give you an example. Iron Man, he stands for innovation, capitalism, personal growth. He stands against terrorism, ignorance, and threats. So what I made was, whoops, dang clicker. I made Iron Dan. Iron Dan doesn't mean anything. It just made sense to say Iron Dan. He stands for, so I stand for becoming the best. I don't like good enough. I don't want to just win. For first place isn't good enough to me. I want the second place winner to be so utterly discouraged through the competition that they never play the game again. I want to be the best that's ever done it, period. Because maybe I don't become the best that's ever done it, but if I even attempt to become the best that's ever done it, I'll at least be a lot better than most people. That's my true belief. It's the attempt. So I believe in becoming the best. I also believe in harsh truths. You guys will notice that I'm not like Russell or Dean. I'm not like, hey guys, I'm definitely not like Amy Porterfield. Let's drink tea and crumpets and talk about Facebook ads. I love Amy. I love Russell. I love Dean. Dean's probably the nicest guy I've ever met in my entire life. And that's saying something because I also know Russell. But I'm not like them. I'm like, dude, you suck. Here's why you suck. Let's make you not suck. That's just me. That's who I am. I never got value from people being nice to me. I got value from people slapping me upside the head and saying, dude, seriously, like, you're messing up. I like harsh truths. I like creativity. If you guys ever see any of my ads, they're extremely creative. They're funny, creative. I love capitalism, so I left that one. I love personal growth. Huge. So I left that one. What do I stand against? I hate the school system. I think the United States school system is the worst thing that's ever been invented. I don't like censorship. I'm not a fan of censorship at all. So I was very happy when Elon Musk bought Twitter. Sue me. I don't like ignorance because I think most ignorance is self-induced. So I don't like it. I don't like mediocrity. I do not like the concept that it's good enough. I don't like it. Why are you here? Like, why are you here? I don't like sugarcoating because to me, it's a waste of time. I could sit here and I could be nice to you and I could dance around words, or I could just tell you what you're doing wrong so you can fix it and make more money. That's me. And I also don't like what most people say. Now, you'll notice I said that a lot. I said, I don't, most people. So it's very clear what I stand for and stand against. So I'm doing this with you. Now, listen, some of you may not resonate with this, and that's okay. Because you want to find your perfect people. You want to find your tribe. And you can't find your tribe if you don't know what you stand for and you don't know what you stand against. So this right here is what there we go. Okay. So I want you to do this. I want you to write down your favorite superhero, and I want to write down your version of the superhero. Come up with a little name for it. I'm Iron Dan. Maybe your name's Stan, so you're Iron Stan, or you're Super Mary, or you're Bat David. Just come up with Captain Zach Sparrow. You can't get any better than that, man. You can't get any better than that. Okay? So real quick, guys, before I move on, does this little superhero exercise help you understand what a frickin' personal brand is? Does this help you? Like, do you believe today you have more clarity than you've ever had on what your personal brand is? Yes? Yes? Pretty good? Mind-blowing? All right, now pause before I continue. We need to understand what value is. So, did you get value? Was this substantially more value? And this is the key. And tell me if I'm wrong. Was this substantially more valuable than other content you have seen on how to create a personal brand? Let me know in the chat. Be honest with me. 100%. Yes, absolutely. You're not wrong. For sure. The best. Okay. Why? Is it because I'm smart? No, it's because I studied Dan Kennedy. And Dan Kennedy taught me, most people, when they teach you to create a personal brand, they are explaining to you how to create a personal brand. I did not explain to you how to create a personal brand. I simplified how to create a personal brand. I didn't teach you anything you didn't already know. How many times have you heard people say, you got to know what you stand for. You got to know what you stand against. You got to know what your values are. You got to know what your principles are. You got to tell stories. Tell the stories. How many times have you heard that? You hear it all day long. Beat into your brain. But for some reason, you got it when I explained it to you. Because I didn't explain it. I simplified it. That's the difference. That is value. When you try to explain concepts to your people, that is not value. Simplify. That is value. Does everybody now? So now that you know what a personal brand is, do you also know what value is? Oh, I see some head explosions. Okay. Zach, you said no. Value is when you take a concept and you simplify it rather than explain it. I didn't explain anything. I simplified it. Every single one of you have heard every word on this board you've already heard. Somebody's already said it to you. They just didn't say it to you in the right sequence that made sense to you. Simplify. Don't explain. Okay? All right. So next. All right. So the purpose of stories. This is straight from the manual that Russell gave me from Dan. This is straight from the manual. Purpose of stories. So Dan Kennedy said, no matter how much you like a story, if it doesn't have a purpose, rid yourself of it. Too often do we hang on, we're monkeys. We hang on to that banana and we don't pull it out of the box. You hang on to that story that doesn't have a purpose. It has to have a purpose. All right, so here are the purpose of stories. First is to explain yourself or your origin. So to tell your backstory, why you're here, why they should listen to you. Or sorry, why you're here, like who, like explain something. To explain, and I don't mean explain a concept, I mean explain who you are, why you're here, etc. Your origin. To gain authority. To gain authority is, look, why should I listen to you? Like, why should I listen to you? Why do I care? Why are you a credible person? So the story I told you about when I went from being broke to doing multiple 8 figures from reading Dan Kennedy and Russell Brunson books, that gives me the authority to speak on this topic. Otherwise, why would you even listen to me? So that's why I told that story. To compress time and establish backstory. So I could sit here and ramble on for an hour about how I went from a broke pizza boy to making millions of dollars, or I could say in my early 20s, I delivered pizza with my dad at Domino's. And I learned a valuable lesson from my dad that I took with me into being a millionaire. 2 sentences, I've said the same thing. So you can use a story to compress time. I mean, how many times have you guys told a backstory in the last 30 minutes? And people are like, you can make, so there was this is going to hit some of you in the feels. There's an example in the manual that said, there was a contest one day. I think this is in the manual. There was a contest one day where Ernest Hemingway, he won it. It was how to create the best but shortest story. And Ernest Hemingway won. Does anybody know about this story that Ernest Hemingway wrote? It's literally like 2 sentences. It's a whole story. Exactly. Here's the story. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. Baby shoes for sale, never worn. Now, is what, 5 words? You heard the whole thing. You know the whole story. Yeah, exactly. So to compress time and establish backstory. Next, to convey empathy. Listen, you got to tell stories that convey empathy. You got to know what it's like. They need to know that they're like you, right? Like I oftentimes will tell stories about my shiny object syndrome. I'll tell stories about how frustrating it was for me to, share stuff from my life because I thought it might have been embarrassing. And when I got over that, those embarrassing moments actually were my best content. So you tell a story about those. Also to create bonds, right? If you're not a fan of the public education system, and you're not a fan of being an employee, and I tell you stories about how much I hate that, we've now created a bond because I shared a story that allows us to bond over a common enemy. To make self human and therefore believable. I messed up this slide. That's 2 slides. It's supposed to say to present an inconvenient truth. So just note that slide's a little off. But to make self human and therefore believable. So what that means is, if you seem perfect, nobody's going to believe you, right? I delivered pizza for 7 years. I share that. Russell has shared multiple stories of how he couldn't pay his employees at one of his companies prior to him understanding and learning funnels. We're human. We're fallible. We make mistakes. You got to tell stories around this to make yourself believable. If you're perfect, nobody's going to believe you. To present an inconvenient truth. So I told the story of the lemonade stand at the beginning to present to you an inconvenient truth that you don't know what you're doing. Like, you don't know what to say to customers, and that's your problem. It's an inconvenient truth, but it's the truth. So that was what that was for. To present a philosophy. So to present a way of thinking that gets them on board with your way of thinking. To teach or glorify a value we need them to believe in to buy. This could be a value we believe in. This could be a value linked to them buying what we sell that we need conformance with. or a value contrary to past thinking. So it's kind of like some sub reasons, but look, some of you don't believe in something because you never heard of it. Some of you believe in something already, but we need to remind you of it. Some of you believe that marketing stories don't work in marketing. So I've told multiple stories this event to show you that they do. And finally, to build up courage. Build up courage is big. Jordan Belfort said that I believe he said there are 3 reasons why someone doesn't buy from you. They either don't trust you, they don't trust your product, or they don't trust your company. I believe there is a 4th. Jordan Belfort says there are 3. Dan Henry says there are 4. And the 4th is this: they don't believe in themselves enough to make your product work. They don't believe in themselves. So it's important. It's absolutely important to tell stories that build up their courage, So this may, let's see, where's my next slide? All right, I'll get to this in a second. This may seem hard to you, right? But I want you to think about it like this. Science, what if I told you that science proves that there's no such thing as easy or hard? Who here is familiar with Einstein's theory of relativity? Are you guys familiar with this? You familiar? It's all relative, right? Now I want you to think about this. Think about the first time that you rode a bike. Think about the first time you rode a bike. When you first thought about it, and you first saw it, and there were in this bike balancing, right? Especially the idea of taking off the training wheels. Didn't you feel it was hard? I know I thought it was impossible. I thought it was impossible. Okay? I was this little kid, and I was like, there is no way I'll ever be able to take off these training wheels. I don't think it's possible. And so I literally thought it was impossible to ride a bike. Yet, fast forward to today, I haven't ridden a bike in probably a year. But now, today, not only is it easy, it's not just easy, it's effortless. Now, the bike didn't change. It still has 2 wheels. It still has handlebars. It's the same bike. It's the same bike. The only difference is now it seems effortless, then it seemed impossible. Now it seems easy, then it seemed hard. But nothing changed except your frame of reference. That's it. The truth is, nothing is easy or hard. Everything hard today can be easy tomorrow. It's all how you think about it. It's all completely how you think about it. Nothing is hard. Nothing is easy. The only thing that makes something hard is if you think it's hard. That is it. You think telling stories is hard. You think this is hard. It's not hard. And it's not easy either. It just is. It just is. It's all about, it is what you make it. It's all how you make it. Okay. So I'm going to go a little late today, guys, just so you know. I'm definitely going to go late. Probably going to go about 20 minutes late. So just letting you know. Okay. So we're going to have to move through this quickly because I just realized the time. Do you guys mind if I go just a little bit late? All right. 4 types of stories. First is this is simple. First is your personal experience, stories from your life. Second is someone else's personal experience. These are historical stories. Third is parable. This is a fictional story. This is a story that you made up, just like, for instance, the lemonade thing. I made that up. It's a parable. Fable is the same thing, but it's known fiction. It's known fiction. Okay? So if you tell a story that everybody knows and then you relate it to a principle, that is a fable. If you make it up yourself, that's a parable. If it's a historical story or from pop culture or somebody else's, that's historical. And if it's your own personal experience, then it's a personal story. If you think about it that way, that's pretty easy. Okay. Whoop, not yet. Okay. All right. So let's talk about stories here real quick. And I'm gonna give you some examples. Now tomorrow I'm gonna show you what stories look like in actual marketing, but today we're just gonna stay conceptual. So I'll give you an example. You guys have seen this clipboard I've been using that I remember the clipboard I said I got off Amazon. Now I want to ask you all a question. Would anybody here like people to not haggle with you over price? Would anybody here love it if customers didn't care about what you charge? Say me if you would love that. Yes, I would. Okay. I'm going to illustrate this to you. So who here would buy this little clipboard briefcase for $1,000? Who would buy this for $1,000? This little clipboard briefcase. Okay. Okay, so Owen says nah. He says no. Okay, no thanks. G Tucker says no thanks. All right. Israka. There we go. It depends on what's in it. You see, there is a difference between mediocre thinking and millionaire thinking. There's a difference between poor people and rich people, or what would eventually be a rich person. That's how you think. You see, mediocre thinkers who stay poor, they say, well, no, it's $1,000. What, like, why would I do that? Because they care about what it costs. But millionaires don't care about what it costs. Millionaires care about what they get. More importantly, they care about what they would lose if they didn't do it. And in this case, there's $100,000 in the briefcase. So they would have lost $99,000. Mediocre thinkers care about what it costs. Millionaire thinkers care about what's inside. They care about what they get. And in this case, you would have lost thinking like mediocre. Being a mediocre thinker, the way school taught you to think, you just lost 99 grand. But when you think like a millionaire, you would at least ask the question, what's inside? Millionaires think about what they get. Why do you think I offered Russell 10 grand for that manual? Because I knew that I'd make millions from it. So I didn't care that it was just paper glued together. I don't care because I think like a millionaire. I learned to anyway. I'm blessed because I used to think like an idiot or mediocre. So is worrying about the cost of things mediocre thinking or millionaire thinking? Mediocre thinking or millionaire thinking? Mediocre. Do you want to be mediocre or do you want to be a millionaire? Do you want to be mediocre or do you want to be a millionaire? Millionaire, absolutely. When you tell the right stories, your customers will care more about what's inside than what it costs. Let me repeat that one for people in the back. When you tell the right stories, your customers will care more about what's inside rather than what it costs. Period. Okay? If anybody would like me to cover more of this, because I am running out of time, I want to do an extra session. Would anybody like me to do an extra session? Just a casual one without all the fancy camera, just sitting here doing Q&A? Okay, ClickFunnels team, can we make that happen? I'll do an extra session maybe day after, or I think we have it scheduled actually. If Molly could remind me when that extra session is, the one that is, I believe it's the next day after tomorrow, Thursday. I'll do an extra session for you guys. Okay, so they'll announce it. We'll do it. I'll do an extra session because I want to cover more of this. So here's some exercises I want you all to do today. I want you to list your customers' limiting beliefs. List some of your customers' limiting beliefs, okay? And list 5 beliefs that you need your customers to adopt to buy your stuff, all right? All right, couple things. I'm going to tell you, would anybody like to hear a good example of a story that can, well, actually, I'll tell you two. And then I got something special for you. So one of the best things you can do is you can tell a story from something you learned from your parents or something that happened when you were a kid. For instance, my father, I used to work with my dad at Domino's when I was in my early 20s. Everybody at Domino's hated my dad because they would drive fast and he would drive slow. My dad was slow as molasses in January. But he would always make more money than all the other drivers. It was the craziest thing. He would make more money. He'd get tipped more, even though he took less deliveries. So one day I go up to him and I say, Dad, how are you doing this? Like, I don't understand. Like, what are you like giving extras or something? Like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, no, I have a magic notebook. I said, what's a magic notebook? What are you talking about? He said, well, and he shows me this notebook he has, right? And he says, when I go to a delivery, I walk up to the door and I give them their pizza and I say, hey, what's going on in your life? How are things going? And usually they'll tell me something like, oh, my dog broke his leg, my son's in the hospital, etc. And they'll tell me that. So then I'll go back to my car, I'll open my magic notebook. This is the manual, but you know what I'm saying. Open the magic notebook and I'll write down the address and I'll write down what they said. Son in hospital. The next time I go to the delivery, before I go up and deliver the pizza, I'll open the magic notebook. I'll look at the address. I'll look at what happened. I'll close it and I'll walk up to the door and I'll say, hey, how is your son doing? How is his surgery? How's his surgery? And instantly, that customer, the whole expression on their face will change. And I'll go from getting a $3 tip to like a $10 tip. And I was like, whoa, are you serious? So I started doing my own magic notebook. And sure enough, people were like, they loved me. And they just, you know, started tipping me more. And I started making more money. Now, listen, my dad is not an entrepreneur. He's not a business guy. Clearly, worked at Domino's. But he taught me some amazing things in life. And I carried some of these lessons in that helped me become a millionaire. And that is this. People who connect pay more. When you can connect with your customer, they will pay more. As I said the other day, if you have a wife who's pregnant, you go to the doctor and one is cheap, one is expensive. And she says, I really connected with this doctor. He really made me feel comfortable. What doctor are you going with? Unless you want to sleep on the couch for 6 months, you're going with the expensive doctor. Why? Because your wife connected. Okay. If you can get your customers to connect, they will pay more. They won't care how much the briefcase costs because you told stories that connected. They will care what's inside. And that is what you want. You want to connect. That's what you want. So I'll give you an example of how you can do this. If you are, but let's say you're a financial planner, I can tell that same story and I could say, and it taught me a valuable lesson to work smarter, not harder. My dad had the magic notebook. He worked smarter, not harder. That is why I love to help entrepreneurs who work hard at growing their wealth. I believe the smartest thing is to let me work hard at preserving their wealth. If you're a real estate agent coach, I believe that you should work smarter, not harder. And that's why I teach my real estate agents to only do luxury real estate, because they're going to let their clients work hard at making the money to buy these big houses. And all they have to do is connect people and do some paperwork. And it's smarter to grow your own wealth 1 6-figure commission check at a time. And that's why I learned that it's better to work smarter, not harder. And that's why we created ClickFunnels. So instead of using 15 different softwares to string everything together and build your own website and code your own stuff, you can use ClickFunnels, and in 10 minutes, you can have a funnel. We created this because we believe that you should work smarter, not harder. See, you can use the same story for multiple things. Would anybody like to hear one more story that I use all the time at the beginning of speeches? I didn't use it at this speech, but it really, really helps. And then I want to tell you about something we have for you guys today. And really quickly, I'm going to message my YouTube guy, and I'm going to tell him I'm going to be 20 minutes late. Because I'm going to be. Hey, Scott, I'm going to be 15, 20 minutes late. I'm still in the challenge. I will be on the call as soon as I can. All right. So my wife, who I love my wife dearly. My wife worked 3 jobs while I was trying to make this thing work. Believed in me, even though I didn't make a penny for 6 months. And then next thing you know, millionaire. She has been my rock. She has been my biggest supporter. Yes, it's Scott. We were even divorced for 5 years. And the whole time we both supported each other a lot. And we ended up getting remarried. Mostly because I got my shit together. But I remember one day recently, and just so you know, I lift a lot of weights. I drink probably 3 protein shakes a day. I probably spent about 200, prior to this story, I spent about $150, $200 a month on almond milk because I don't drink dairy. I hate American dairy. If any of you have ever left the United States or lived outside of the United States, you would probably hate American dairy as well. And so, the sales letter to Russell. Yes, I'll read it here in a second. Okay, so maybe 25 minutes over. I posted it in this group, by the way. Okay. Oh, you know what? I posted it in the group. You guys can go read it in the group later, but let me finish the story. So one day I come home and there's this big carafe of what looked like almond milk, huge carafe. And I walk in and I go, why is there a big thing of milk on the counter? And my wife walks up like this. And she goes, you know what this is? And I said, almond milk? She's like, yes. And she walks over to the refrigerator. She opens up the refrigerator and she grabs out some store-bought almond milk. She says, you know what this is? Almond milk. And she says, yes. And this has all of these my wife's from Turkey. She doesn't like American food either. But she said, this has all these chemicals and additives and sugar and all this stuff you shouldn't be eating. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? I don't know what to do. She's like, and it costs $6 a carton. You spend like almost $200 a month on this. I said, okay. So she says, you see what this is? And she points back to the big carafe. She says, this is homemade almond milk. And she picks up this big black, I don't know what it was, big jug thing. She says, this is an almond milk maker. It costs $50 on Amazon, and it takes a little teeny tiny palm full of almonds and some water to create this big carafe of almond milk. The whole thing is twice the size of a carton. It probably costs 20 cents to make. And it is pure almonds and water, has none of these additives. And I go, well, damn. I go, and my wife was right. I was ingesting all this bad stuff that I shouldn't be ingesting, and I was overspending on almond milk. Now, that expense, both in health and in money, it's interesting because the most expense we have in life and the most pain and suffering, it comes from a simple thing. You see, I was spending too much on almond milk because of one simple reason. I didn't know you could make homemade almond milk. And most of the pain and suffering and expense in life comes from things we do not know. And maybe almond milk's not a huge expense, but in your business, when you don't know how to market, the expense for that is far greater than some almond milk. And that right there is what I want to solve for you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of day one yesterday, I made a startling admission to you that I was willing to tell you what we were selling at this challenge. And I told you it was the Renegade Millionaire Mastermind, which is $25,000. I said, by the end of this event, you will be smart enough to know if it is for you or not. You're smart enough to know if you being in a group of people who are all doing this day in and day out at meetings with Darcy, who I'm going to talk about tomorrow in depth. Darcy, who is an amazing person. She heads up the mastermind. That's what I talked to you about. Now, listen, if you want to join that mastermind for $25,000, you go right ahead. But for those of you who are not ready to invest at that level, would you like to hear another offer that could be a little bit better for you? Would you like to hear another offer that is not as much of an investment, but still will massively help you. Yes? You'd like to hear it? Yes? All right. I got it for you. So we have an offer for you today. And let's bring up the slide. I'm not going to make this a big dramatic thing. I'm going to be very clear. If you want to hear the offer, here is what it is. It is the Magnetic Story Selling System. I'm going to tell you exactly what you get with this system. First thing you're going to get is the How to Create Personality and Copy by Dan Kennedy. This is an hour and 30 minutes. Now, I want you to notice something about these red values here. These are not made up values. These are prices that if you went and you purchased these things, or or what they've been sold at previously, if you purchase these, this is what you pay for them. So these aren't like, oh, it's worth this. No, this is what it costs. So this is like real prices. This is not, I just want to be clear. These are real prices that if you went and bought it right now, you could buy it and this is what it would cost. So first is How to Create Personality and Copy by Dan Kennedy, an hour and 30 minutes of Dan Kennedy. Remember I talked about those hidden recordings that Russell showed me? This is one of them. $397 value because that's what it's been sold for in the past. Okay. And then and that's what they sell it for now at Magnetic Marketing. Thankfully, Russell found these. Second is Influential Communication and Writing Workshop. This is 12 hours and 20 minutes at $2,997 value. That's what you would pay for it. Next is the Attractive Character Training by Russell Brunson. This is 2 hours and it's a $2,142 value. This is Russell talking about how to create your attractive character. Next is Designing Your Character. How to design it. This is an hour long and it's a $1,071 value. Then there's the Epiphany Bridge training. 2 hours, $2,142. Then is the Breaking False Beliefs training with Russell. 2 hours, $1,000 value. And finally, an Inner Circle event recording. You can get an event recording of Inner Circle. This is a $697 value. I have no idea why that value is only $697. That should be a $10,000 value. But finally, let me ask you a question. This is like 19 hours of content or something like that. Be honest. Are you guys going to go over the next week? Are you going to go through 19 hours of content, figure out what to do, and then go do it? Are you really going to do that? Or are you going to watch this stuff over time? You're probably going to watch. Yeah, exactly. Not really. Now, would it help you? Yes. But here's the thing. What if the manual I've been talking about, which is called Magnetic Story Selling, what if this manual was basically an SOP process, a condensed version of everything you just saw here, put down in and I mean, it's a big book because there's a lot of stuff here, but literally, you do this. You just do what it says, and you will have magnetic marketing. All in the book. So if you never watched or listened to any of these trainings, and you just had this, you could implement over the next week. I read this in a week and I implemented, and all my marketing blew up. Not only that, but I want you to imagine all of these recordings as sort of a web that all go to one source, which is this manual. Inside the manual are QR codes. So as you're going through it, you can scan a QR code and go right to the elaborated training, which you see here, if you want. So this right here is literally your master key to all these trainings. You can read it and immediately implement it, or you can just scan the code and go and study it at a deeper level. How cool is that? This is like literally, this is your last pass. This is your master key to all these trainings, which I've never seen done before. And that's why I think this is amazing, because not only do you have the manual with how to do everything, but then when you scan the code and you listen to Dan explain it in more detail, then you're just like, whoosh. But I'm sure you're going to go through that training. But if you want to implement now, this is literally the centerpiece of all this. This is the brain of all of it. How cool is that? That said, I get my clicker to work. Bonuses. Obviously, you got to have bonuses, right? Why wouldn't we have bonuses? So, the first bonus, reverse engineering stories that sell with 12 examples. These are crafted stories that worked for all different types of businesses. The reason why there's question marks here is because, as far as I know, it's never been sold. At least it's never been packaged and sold. So we don't know what the value is. I'm not going to give you, for me personally, I don't put a value on something that I haven't sold. So that's why I put question mark there. So you will have to determine what you feel that value is. I'm not going to add that into the calculation because, as far as I know, it was never sold. I could be wrong though. I've only been at Magnetic Marketing for 3 days, and tomorrow's my last day. So next is Ultra Advanced Sales and Persuasion Strategies by Dan Kennedy. It's a 2-hour training. It's been sold for $797. So the total real value is $13,311. And when I say the total real value, I don't mean this, oh, it's this total value. No, this is real. Like if you purchased everything separately, this is what you would pay. This is real value. Today, only $10,000. I'm just kidding. That's not $10,000. We got a much better deal for you today. You can get it all today for just $19.97. You get every single one of those trainings. You get everything. You get the manual. You get the Magnetic Story Selling Manual. And you go to magneticstoryselling.com/go and you can get all that. But if you are still on the fence, ladies and gentlemen, I have some bonuses. Who here would like to hear my bonuses? I'm going to throw in some bonuses. Would anybody like to hear these bonuses? Let me know in the chat. I have personal bonuses. Yes? Yes? Amazing. All right. Here are my bonuses. Number 1. Tomorrow, after the final session, and we still have more to cover tomorrow, and I'm going to give you homework right after this. But tomorrow, after the general session, that evening, I'm going to be doing a VIP meet and greet session. So if you purchase the Magnetic Story Selling System, you get all that stuff. You get the manual, which it's so much gold. You get all of this. I will do a session where every single one of you that has actually taken this offer, you will come on a very chill Zoom call. I'll stay on for 2-3 hours if I have to. And I'm going to bring people on and I'm going to help you personally with your offer, your marketing, your brand, your magnetic persona and stories that you can tell to blow up your business. That is going to happen tomorrow night. So if you're thinking, oh, well, this bonus is still going to be around a couple of days later. No, it won't, because it's happening tomorrow night. So it's happening tomorrow night. So if you don't buy before tomorrow night, you don't get it because that's when it's happening. I can't move time. So this is definitely an expiring offer. Who here would like to be in on that VIP meet and greet? Who would like to be in on that? Yes, the book's going to be shipped. It's not a book. It's a manual. the manual is going to be shipped physically, but no, I don't believe that there is going to be. This is too valuable to make digital. This is too valuable. Okay, you need to read this. You need to smell it. You need to smell the dead trees. Okay, this is the Bible of marketing. Okay, I don't need any other Dan Kennedy book. I still have them, but if I didn't need them, if I was on a desert island, I need one book to market my way off the island. This would be it. All right. So VIP meet and greet session with Dan Henry. Now I have one more thing, one more bonus, and I'm gonna show you guys this slide tomorrow. Remember how I told you I created a webinar that, even though everybody and their brother sold the same exact offer, how to create a Facebook ads agency, I dominated with that webinar. I made $10 million with that webinar. So profitable that I was buying multiple mansions. I got a mansion in Costa Rica. I got a penthouse in Costa Rica. I got a penthouse in downtown St. Pete. I got a $1 million mountain house in the mountains of Costa Rica. I got a house for my mother. I got a house for my father. I'm like Oprah. Here's a house. Here's a house. All from webinars. Most of it from webinars and speaking. This webinar, I did this amazing little training. 3.5 hours. It is called the 8-Figure Webinar Director's Commentary. Well, Dan, that's me, will break down every slide from a sales presentation that did $10 million using what you have learned here today. That webinar was everything I talked about today in a slide deck. And what I did was I took a 3.5 hour session. I went slide by slide, and on camera, I talked about why I did what I did, when I did it in each slide, and what I would do differently in today's market. That's why it's 3.5 hours. Every single slide. So I'm playing the webinar. I'm hearing myself speak, and I'm doing director's commentary on that webinar. How valuable. Now, let me guys ask you, if you don't believe that one bonus is worth $2,000 alone, then you don't know the value. You either hate money or you don't know math, and you shouldn't be on this webinar. All right. You guys can have that absolutely free as a bonus when you take this offer for the Magnetic Story Selling System. Okay. So that is the offer today. So one more time. See, we got so that's the total real value of $17,305. That's not a made up value. That's a real value. Today, only $19.97. You can go to magneticstoryselling.com/go. I have some homework for you today. First thing you're going to do is you're going to post your superhero identity in the group. Iron Dan, Iron Stan, whatever it is, post it in the group. You're going to write another story based off now knowing what you stand for, now knowing what you stand against, now thinking about maybe something you learned from your father, something you learned from your mother, something that happened to you, and aligning that with something they need to believe in to buy from you. I want you to write that story. I want you to go to copyanalyzer.ai. I want you to paste it in, hit analyze, look at the suggestions it gives you, and then revise the copy based on the feedback and share that in the Facebook group. And finally, I want you to film a video about your biggest takeaway from day 2 and post it in the Facebook group. And the reason we do this is 2 reasons. One, somebody out there probably missed the golden nugget that you got. And by you posting it in the group, you're helping each other learn this stuff. And the second reason is it gives you an opportunity to practice on camera, practice your magnetic personality, practice your brand, and do that. So please post that video. I have a question. What is copyanalyzer.ai? Really quickly, I made a list of laws from Dan Kennedy based on this manual, and I checked all my copy against those laws, and I would constantly break those laws, so I would fix my copy based on those laws. But I wanted to work smarter, not harder, so I hired an 18-year-old developer who is a beast. He developed me a AI software called Copy Analyzer, and all it does very simply is you paste your copy in, and it uses AI to check your copy against those laws that I made, so you know you're always following the laws of copy and you're following the principles in this book. You can paste your copy into Copy Analyzer AI, and it will show you how good your copy is based on the greatest copywriters of all time, mainly Mr. Dan Kennedy. Go ahead and do that. The VIP meet and greet is tomorrow at 7 p.m. How do you access it? You go to copyanalyzer.ai. That's how you do it. All right, guys. So once again, that is the offer today. Go to magneticstoryselling.com/go if you want to get the manual. This is alone worth $2,000. My bonuses are alone worth $2,000, but you get all of those amazing products from Dan Kennedy, all those recordings. It's his best stuff. It's amazing. Go to magneticstoryselling.com/go. We have done so well lately, and I can tell you right now, it's because of this right here. I have literally I've taken this everywhere, every plane I've been on, everywhere I've gone, I have taken this, and all I do is I crack it open, and as soon as I crack it open, I mean, look at this. Principle of legend. You want to know what to be known for? This page tells you how to know what to be known for and how to engineer your audience to be people. Big brands, they're known for things by design. This page right here will teach you how to make sure you're known for a specific thing. You want to be known for something, you want to be known for whatever you want to be known for, read this page in the manual. Read this page and you will know how to be known for whatever it is you want to be known for. All right? magneticstoryselling.com/go. I'll see you all tomorrow. The sales letter is in the group. Perhaps I'll come on and read it tomorrow, but I posted it in the group. Thank you guys so much. Sorry for going late. I will see you all tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be a doozy. I kicked it up today. It's going to be kicked up even more tomorrow. I will see you then. Bye.